Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, October 27, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we do have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Veretta Everhard, LA Sanitation.
Good morning, Kimberly Fitzpatrick, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Reza Shamirzadeh, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we received a speaker card today for general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section. We also received an email comment for item number 2 that has been distributed to all commissioners.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Agenda item number 2, there's been a request by the parties to continue the item pursuant to pending settlement discussions to January 19th, 2018. Is that correct, Dr. Campos?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
This is a Friday.
But the parties wanted us to state on the record, if they reach an agreement, they may come in at an earlier date to let us know the terms of the agreement or to at least request the withdrawal of the item, which is okay with me.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will also work with the parties to make sure that we agendize this in accordance with the Brown Act as well.
Okay. Mr. Jordan, you have an inquisitive look on your face.
Well, inquisitive. My recollection may be incorrect, but I recall the last time we had the item, there was some discussion about certain deadlines that were important to the applicant. So I presume when the parties requested the continuance, that's both parties, including the applicant who made some statements regarding certain deadlines.
Yes.
And so therefore, presumably the applicant is okay with an extension that will go beyond the deadlines that they discussed.
My understanding is that is the case.
Okay, and this item being on the agenda, if they were here and had some issue with that, they certainly could have come and said that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to get all that in the record.
Okay. There you go. Mission accomplished. All right, thank you. So that'll be the order on agenda item number 2. Is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, September 27, 2017 by Commissioners Rivas and Repenning? Any objection? With that objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Let's do general public comment. Bill Carter. Good morning, sir. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Any documentation that you have, our executive officer is here, Mr. Fernando Campos. You can leave your information with him. He's going to give his business card to you. He also works directly with our Office of Accounting, and the Office of Accounting disperses payments to contractors. I would start your inquiry with Mr. Campos, and if it needs to, he'll know if it needs to go elsewhere, where to send it. And he's sitting right here. Okay? Yeah. Thank you, sir. No other cards on general public comment. Thank you for coming to City Hall this morning. No other cards on general public comment, so we will close general public comment. Agenda item number 5, stop payment notice, Smithson Electric Incorporated, submitting a stop payment notice in the amount of $10,930 for furnishing installation of traffic loop detectors to Steiny and Company, an apparent subcontractor, in connection with the Soto Street Bridge over Mission Road and Huntington Drive bridge removal and street realignment project. The contractor for which is Palp Incorporated, doing business as XL Paving Company. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 5 forthwith by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 4, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. The project is in Council District 1 for the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority Confluence Plaza Interface Redesign Project. The estimate is $768,700. The bid receipt date is December 6, 2017. And Mr. Campos, you tell me that we need to amend this regarding the work order number.
That is correct, Mr. President. There's been a request by the Bureau of Engineering to modify the work order number that's agendized. Instead of W700502F, it would be E for Edward 700502F. So the request is to adopt this as amended.
Okay. Then my motion would be to adopt it as amended. Is there a second on number 4 by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 4 as amended. Any issues sending it forthwith? We will send number 4 forthwith. Agenda item number 1, Council District 13, task order solicitation number 90, T.Y. Lin International, recommending to the board that the board authorize the city engineer to issue task order number 2 to T.Y. Lin International from the pre-qualified on-call design and support services consultants list to provide design support services for the North Atwater non-motorized multimodal bridge project as stated in task order solicitation number 90 with a budget authority of $1,484,732.05, which includes contingency. Mr. Tran. Good to see you, sir. Wow, good morning. Here we all are. How many firms are there on the on-call list? And 2 of the 10 responded? Okay, T.Y. Lin and one other? Yeah. Any indication as to why there weren't more? I'm sorry, Fernando, that's worse. Yeah, one moment. Let's just go without it, and maybe everybody can raise their voices a little bit today until we get a technician here. Go ahead, sir. Okay. Well, I'm familiar with the project. I don't have any questions on this. Commissioner Repenning.
Is T.Y. Lin, is there any association between that company and Lin Consulting Incorporated?
The sub? There's a sub.
The subcontractor Lin Consulting Incorporated. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it's not, because that's their only DBE listed. I want to make sure that it's not some sort of affiliated. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And yes, this is federally funded, so the inclusion numbers are listed a bit differently than otherwise.
There's corrections on page 4. Under new federal guidelines, there's no requirements for UDBE. So on page 4 should be corrected. UDBE should be strike out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's
Anything else? Commissioner Sintos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 1. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We will send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Trenton, I'm just going to state on the record that the budget for the project is what, something between 12 and 15 million, correct?
Yes, the construction contract is $12.5 million.
Right. Okay.
The city also budget roughly 1.8 for construction management and roughly 1.8 for the contingency, for the construction contingency.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So number 6, Stormwater Capture Bureau of Sanitation oral report, Dr. Majid Sadeghi.
Yes, thank you so much, President James, and thank you, commissioners, for having me here, and the bureaus and the city attorney. I just wanted to give you an update. There was a handout which I gave you with actually the map that kind of shows the stormwater capture we've done in the city from 2016 to 2017. So far, we've completed 35 green stormwater infrastructure projects in the city. We've done about more than 5,000. There's private LID developments in the city. And from the map, I think, did everybody get a map? So it just kind of shows that this last season, we had a very good rainy season. We had over 112% of the amount of rain that fell in. We captured almost about 2 billion gallons of stormwater that was captured, infiltrated, reused in the city of Los Angeles. And if you guys have any questions on this map, I could more than happy to kind of provide more information. And so far in this last quarter, we haven't had any rainfall, but we've been going and doing observation report of all our 35 green stormwater projects. We have our operation maintenance. We're going out and cleaning all these stormwater BMPs to make sure they're working. When the rain comes, we'll be able to capture it. And we've been doing our everything, all the efforts to make sure everything is ready to go when the first storm hits. I think it's going to rain, next Friday, hopefully. And we'll be able to
I
capture.
saw
everything.
that, yes.
Yes, it's going to be.
I would welcome that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So all our projects are ready. Hopefully, they will be able to perform as we did last year and everything.
Okay.
Thank you. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Penning. Sergio, I'm glad you moved over. I thought you had stepped out. Cost you a little bit of time. Commissioner Penning.
Mainly, I just want to thank you, Majid, for your work on, bringing green infrastructure to our city and supporting our Green Streets Committee and really bringing a lot of innovation to the projects that you help design and build and optimize.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
And we're lucky to have you. You're
Yes.
a PhD, correct?
Yes, I have a PhD in water resource hydrology from UC Santa Barbara.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah,
sir.
me too.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
What a coincidence.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Just kidding. Thank you, Commissioner
Okay.
Penning. And let me just say, look, this is really important to us. It's kind of like now, whenever I'm in the community on any other issue, somebody raises their hand and has an issue or a question about stormwater capture and what we're doing in the city and how they wish and we wish that we had more resources. I know that we're looking for more resources and trying to find ways to prioritize it even more, but particularly coming out of the last drought, there are all kinds of exciting things happening around it that we would like to have the resources to take advantage of.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Oh, sure, no problem. And then 2 weeks from now, I'll be going to Portland, Oregon, giving a presentation from all our city green stormwater infrastructure projects. And what I'll be presenting is that we've spent over $600 million for the past 10 years on doing all these projects. That $500 million from Propo, the $100 million from grants, and all these, we're capturing all this stormwater, especially with all the droughts and everything we have. So the city is in the forefront of most other cities in the United States.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Majid.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
So the oral report will be received. Agenda item number 3, authority for expenditure. Truck owners on file, Bureau of Street Services and Office of Accounting requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $3 million. It's a new adjusted amount of $6 million to pay as needed truckers who supplement existing staff in the transportation of materials, equipment, and debris throughout the city. Mr. Samoya.
Hi,
Welcome
good
back,
morning.
sir.
Good morning, members of the board, Bureau representatives, Deputy City Attorney, Executive Officer. My name is Sergio Samayo. I'm with the Bureau of Street Services, representing the Financial Management Division, here to request on behalf of the Office of Accounting and Bureau of Street Services approval and execution of authority for expenditure of $3 million. This is our second request for the year. The purpose is to provide sufficient cash to adequately fund the as-needed haul truck program. The first installment covered from July through October, which is approximately 4 months. The year-to-date expenditures is $2.7 million. The expenditures are done based on payroll periods, so we calculated it's about an average of, so far, $389,375 per pay period. This is, though, in the same analysis I saw that this is kind of the heaviest time of the year that we use this, so it may not stay at the same levels historically. In terms of the amounts that have been hauled, year to date, again, pay period 7, 238,000 tons so far. We're a little slightly below last year and the year before. So unfortunately, Mike's not here, but the last time I was here, you guys asked me about alternative fuels. And so I did prepare something. I don't know if we have time, with your permission, I could talk a little bit, address some of the questions you had last time that I wasn't able to answer.
Sure.
Is that okay? Okay. And I would like to thank
How much time are you talking about?
I didn't time it, but I can shorten my
5
presentations.
minutes?
I'm pretty good at it, so.
5 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Great.
5 minutes. Okay, let me just find my notes. Okay.
As long as Mr. Jordan tells me I can do that. Go ahead.
Well, this is related to this, and this was addressing a question that was asked in the last meeting So I'm actually reporting back on something you requested before.
Right.
The last meeting was July 26th, and you asked me what the as-needed haul truck program was doing right now in regard to the use of alternative fuels and alternative fuel investments that are made by the city of Los Angeles, as well as what's being done in other cities. So I have a short summary. It's not, it's not like, this is not my line of work. It's just something that I researched, and I think it's going to go into the logic of how we approach getting the truckers to more upgraded equipment, going into the future, especially as the regulations and public policy starts to change and it's required. So it's something that we need to address. So the truckers drive the Class 8 vehicles. They could carry the biggest payloads. They're diesel-fueled engines and have the advantage of being very durable. So they can last as long as 30 years, and that explains why many trucks are still on the road today. The downside is that they're consuming diesel fuel and emitting pollutants in the air. So diesel emissions impact the human health, they cause asthma, the local environment, and even the global climate. So when we talk about alternative fuels, we're talking about the fuels that take the place of diesel fuel, like natural gas, propane, ethanol, hydrogen, electricity fuels, or some combination, like hybrids. Okay, so in terms of the status of the as-needed truck haul program, the truckers are required to register with the California Air Resources Board, or the CARB. Every year they must submit a certificate that attests under penalty of perjury that they're in compliance with the regulations. Currently, they comply with the CARB requirements by retrofitting their truck with what's called a PM filter, a particulate matter filter. This is a device designed to remove diesel particulate matter or soot from the exhaust gas of a diesel engine. The range of cost is typically between $12,000 and $15,000, which includes a filter, back pressure, installation, and warranty. We held an annual meeting on August 10th. The reason why is because come 2023, the CARB is going to require them to upgrade their engines to the 2010 standards. Right now, I talked to Dennis Fryer, who oversees operations, and he told me that right now they're at the early 2000s in terms of technology and the standard. So they need to upgrade it to 2010, okay? So we talked about it, and I got a gauge from the truckers about their knowledge and what some of the things they're doing. And it seemed like they were fairly sophisticated. They understood kind of that things needed, and in fact, they kind of explained to us what the exact requirements were in terms of timing. In order to stay in business beyond 2023, which is at least 5 years from now, they're going to have to upgrade, and they cannot use the filters anymore. So they have to do something. Okay. So I did a survey of other cities. I looked at Indianapolis, New Orleans, Chicago, Rochester, Kansas City, Orville, Ohio. One thing I found that based on the need, there's criteria you go through to see what kind of investments you're going to do when you do alternative fuel. And it's the need of the haul trucker. Do you have a heavy payload and you have to go long distances versus smaller cars that go in stop-and-go traffic? One thing I found from looking at those cities, I was going to describe each one, but we don't have the time. The smaller cars can use hybrid technology, and it works better in stop-and-go traffic. So you have delivery trucks, like Los Angeles, the fleet vehicles that we use here. But for the type of trucks that are part of the haul truck program, those are Class 8. They go long distances. Weight matters. How much things weigh matter, and so that's gonna determine what type of technology to best use for their engines. So we also want to look at the infrastructure, not just having the right alternative fuel, but can you refuel? Say you end up in the desert somehow, you want to get back to the city. That's going to determine the type of things. Public policy and regulations, which we just talked about, that's going to kind of force the need to make some changes. And then probably one of the biggest factors is economic feasibility. The cost of the equipment. Right now they have three choices. They can buy a new truck, they can replace the engine and keep the truck, or they can replace it with a rebuilt engine that meets the 2010 standards. So those are their options that they're looking at right now. And we're very early on in the process. I think we're going to keep working with them as time goes by. So looks like LA actually has the answer to meet the technology needs, the infrastructure needs. Right now, what the city is using is compressed natural gas. We used to use liquid natural gas because the tanks that contain compressed natural gas were too heavy. So it compromised the payload, the amount you can carry in payload. And we want to maximize the amount of payload we can take. But once they created the technology of carbon fiber, they could make the tanks out of the carbon fiber, and that reduced the weight. So right now, Los Angeles, you see it in the street sweeping and street services. You see it in sanitation, in their sanitation trucks. And you also see it Metro in their buses. You see a big CNG on the side. That's because that's the kind of fuel they're using. And that's compressed natural gas. So we don't use liquefied natural gas. The problem with liquefied natural gas is that you had to lower the temperature in order to liquefy the natural gas, and that required a lot of infrastructure and cost. So the benefits of compressed natural gas are not all environmental. They reduce emissions, cleaner air. It's produced in the United States, so it reduces dependence on foreign oil. Reduce long-term maintenance expenses. They're cheaper to maintain. Reduce fuel expenses. CNG is actually a lot cheaper than diesel. And there's an infrastructure in place. So that's one hurdle that we kind of, now that we know what we're sort of looking at, we have to work with the truckers. I think the best thing we could do at this time is to connect them with the grants. I know that the CARB actually provides vouchers that will help the truckers, either replace their engine or buy new trucks, as long as the trucks meet the technology requirements of the regulations. But there's also federal grants. And again, I thank Bureau of Sanitation because they were able to provide me with a couple. One is Carl Moyer, and I have the other one listed here somewhere. The thing about those is you need the sophistication to be able to apply for the grant. Some of these are seasonal, so you have to sort of plan for them. You just don't call somebody up and then you apply it on the spot. It's something you have to sort of plan for. And it helps to have the experience of being able to apply for grants. So that's something we're going to explore and try to get the information. Some of the truckers know what they're doing. Some of them have already applied for and gotten some of these grants. And other truckers, they're a little bit, they've been doing it for a long time. They're a little bit more resistant to change, but reality is going to set in 2023, and we need to plan for it. So that is basically the status of the program in terms of alternative fuels.
Excellent, Sergio.
Make the 5 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I mean, it was good.
Okay,
and
thank you.
And more importantly, I think it demonstrated that the Bureau is taking some first steps in that direction. And thinking about tools to help the contract truckers that we work with. Obviously, that's going to be a discussion, as you said yourself, with 2023 looming. It's going to be this is an area that's only going to have to accelerate. But it was nice to get the first report. So thank you, sir.
Okay.
Commissioner Rivas.
Thank you, Sergio, for your update and for the additional information on this issue on the alternative fuels for the truckers. Like as you mentioned, they all have to upgrade by 2023. They're going to be required to in order to continue to be our contractor.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know if any of them are already on this path, and maybe with a date before 2023, or any of them?
There are some that have actually already upgraded, and they're good to go. And there's some that haven't. We probably have to do an analysis and kind of survey them and see where they are. And some of them may be retiring. They've been doing this for quite a few years, and they may be ready to retire. So they may say, okay, 2023 is our date, and that's it. If that's the case, then we have to then it's up to us to have to look into the waiting list and see who can replace them, right? So we do have to do that survey, try to get a sort of lay of the land and where everybody's at. Like I tell you, some of the newer truckers probably are the ones that are more in tune with the grants. They've already applied and have already received. But when you're talking about like municipalities, they have the infrastructure in place. I talked to Renee Villagustin from GSD, and they work on the CNG infrastructure, like the fueling stations for all of our fleet vehicles. And they have a team that goes from the grant writing, the design, they oversee the building, and then they maintain it afterwards. I mean, they have the whole range. And so sophistication matters. Like if you know what you're working with, it does matter. And so what we're going to try to do is bridge the gap. If people are interested in continuing with our program, they're one of our active truckers, they want to continue and they want that information, we will be sort of the bridge to get that information to them.
That's great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Repenning.
Thanks, Sergio. I just want to commend your obvious enthusiasm and personal interest for topics that we need to be really working hard on in order to play the role that LA and our mayor wants us to play in fighting climate change. So street services has a big role to play. We've seen how warmly, well, I shouldn't say warmly, how well people have received the cool pavement projects. Everyone now wants cool pavement in their neighborhood. There's a lot more to do, so I just want to just appreciate that you're obviously, going above and beyond and looking how to participate. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Excellent, thank you. So we still have a vote on this item. So I will make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 3. Is there a second on number 3 by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 3. Any issues sending 3 forthwith? We will send 3 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. Is there a second time motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, October 4th, 2017? By Commissioner Rivas. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. Now, Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, then we are adjourned this Friday morning with the exception of the management meeting, which is going to take place now in our conference room. Thank you.